Terry Fairchild, registered corporate coach, and you know what? I think there's a lot of suffering going on right now. I know there's a lot of days when I'm not as productive as I like to be, and some days I even feel depressed, just kind of like, I'm just so uncertain about what the future holds, and I can get really overwhelmed, sleep too much, eat too much, drink too much. I don't know if all of you can relate to that, but it's very easy. There's a lot of temptation to do that. And it reminds me of a time in my life in the 1990s. I found myself divorced, and while I would go to work and I'd be very busy, I remember coming home. And during the weekends, I wouldn't have a lot going on. I was not in the best of moods, and I would kind of sink into this depression and almost despair. And I think one of the reasons that I felt that way is because I was very uncertain about the future. And so this week when I was, we had a virtual conference for Wiley, I saw a slide that just jumped out to me. It said that a lot of us are feeling uncertainty right now. And that's really a hard place to be. And I do change a lot. And when it was William James's Managing Change or Managing Transitions, he said, it's not the change, it's the transition. There's steps to change. An ending, losing, letting go. And then a new beginning, which of course we choose for ourselves, and then the middle time is the uncertainty time. And that's where it's usually negative, people are complaining, they don't have the old way, they don't know how to do the new way. So I thought a lot about that model, and one of the things they suggested is to gain clarity. And I remember the turning point for me was when I started to think about my future. And I remember a friend of mine gave me a book, and it said, what do your heart's desire? What's your heart's desire for your future? And so I remember answering a lot of questions and really starting to crystallize what an ideal future for me would look like. Not as a divorced person. Of course, I wanted a good relationship. I wanted the best for my kids. I wanted, a career, just all different things. And it kind of reminds me of that wheel of life, if you've ever seen that, where you look at different aspects of your life: financial, physical, spiritual, relationships, community involvement. There's, different things about life, aspects of life. And I thought, what a great idea to do that right now. Since we aren't certain, is to create certainty for ourselves. What a good time to reflect and think about what we want for our future. And at the conference, there was a guy who was a cultural anthropologist, and he said, in order for us to create the change that we want in our lives, we have to see it, we have to feel it in order to believe it. And so seeing it and feeling it means we have to think about it. We have to really create a picture in our minds. What do we want to see for ourselves? And it's only when we can see it and just feel it in some way, maybe a tangible, creating a picture, that we can believe it. So I remember when I was divorced, what I would really struggle with is being busy on the weekends. And so I made a commitment outside my comfort zone to make sure that I had something to do either on Friday night or Saturday night, so that I didn't spend the whole weekend alone. And it was outside my comfort zone, and I never liked it, and it was uncomfortable, but it really was good for me to do that. And the question I would ask you is, right now, what is that thing that's outside your comfort zone? What's that future for you? Have you taken the time to do that? And first of all, I would do that to get clarity on what is it that you want to see from yourself post-COVID-19, and get really clear on that. And then probably it's going to necessitate the need for you to do something differently, and it's probably going to be outside your comfort zone. So this week, I will say, I'm happy to report that on Tuesday, my husband and I have been happily married for 19 years. And as I look back, I probably would not have traded the 3 years that I was by myself. It was a really good time of reflection. It was a really good time to personally develop in certain areas of my life. And even though it was not fun, it probably was a very good thing for me to do. So create an opportunity for yourself on the other side of COVID-19. And when you do, you'll be more clear about what to do in the present.